Hey everyone, welcome back to Absolutely. My name is Benny from Comic Storian, and that is Hudson from Hudson Kader, and today we're going to be talking about Doctor Who. And today's episode is brought to you by Gamer Subs. Use the code COMICS at checkout. Get yourself some energy drinks or caffeine-free fruit-based drinks. This particular one is Sour Apple. Or if you want to get into their secondary sister brand, Waifu Cups. You can get yourself anime women on your shaker cups, which gives me some great looks when I go to the gym. Or you can get some apparel to wear at selected locations. I would not recommend them at weddings or funerals or church, but there's still a lot of places a shirt like this will be fine. Not if you're introduced to like your significant other's parents. I wouldn't do that, but you could wear it to like a card meeting event or your favorite movie. Anyway, let's talk about this show, Doctor Who.
Okay, man. Doctor Who is back. It's been off the air. I'm kidding. It hasn't been off the air. It's been with.
Let's run down. I'm going to run down exactly what's going on right now, plot-wise, and then we'll talk about this particular episode. Okay.
Cool.
So Doctor Who originally came back in the early 2000s, and then they ran through multiple Doctor Whos. We went from Chris Eccleston to David Tennant to Matt Smith to
Peter Capaldi.
I was going to say Paul Capaldi, and I knew that was wrong. Peter Capaldi, and then Jodie Whittaker or Whittaker
or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't care.
The Jodie Whittaker one was liked by some. Many fans did not like it. I was not a fan of the writing in it overall. I gave it a shot. I watched the first 5 episodes, and I just was like, I'm done with this.
It was written like a child wrote it.
Yeah.
It was written like an actual child was like,
and
then
the
doctor says, woo woo.
And on top of that, though, they also tried to go that angle of where they're like, we're going to do nothing you recognize from Doctor Who until the finale. This is no known enemies, no master, no Daleks, nothing. It's a whole new adventure, whole new Doctor Who.
And and then they did the master.
Well, they did that. They brought it all back at the end when they realized nobody's watching.
And they entirely rewrote all of the Doctor Who lore fundamentally. Did you read? Did you get to that part?
No, I got 5 episodes.
We'll talk about it towards the end of this video because I recently heard about what the timeless child is, and it effectively like all of the Gallifrey history, all of the Time Lord history, all of the Doctor's history, just done.
Oh, I think I did hear about what the Timeless Child was. They finally revealed what the Timeless Child. Yeah,
it's crazy.
So the Jodie Whittaker one did not do well for whatever the reason. You can attack it however you want or whatever you want to say about it. It doesn't matter. It's over. And BBC recognized the issue. Now, whatever happened, Stephen, which the writer for that time, which was who's the writer for
Smith's writer?
Huh?
You said Stephen, so Stephen Moffat is maybe who you're thinking of, but he was Matt Smith's writer.
Stephen Moffat's the one that's back now, right?
No, Russell T Davies is back.
Okay. Stephen Moffat was like working alongside Russell T Davies, and then he took over, if I had the names right. Yes, that's exactly what it is. And so Stephen Moffat became showrunner, and then basically, we don't know exactly what happened.
Did he showrun into Jodie Whittaker's run?
Yeah.
Okay, I know he was Matt Smith's showrunner, but it's a different show. So
well, no, but Russell T Davies apparently was still on at that time and was like advising.
Russell T Davies left after Smith's run. He left like 1 season into Smith, if not even before that. He show ran through all of Tennant's run, and then Moffat worked under him, and that's why there's like a huge shift in like how the stories are told.
Somebody took over for Jodie Whittaker. That was their first time taking over.
Okay, so it's not Moffat, it's not Stephen Moffat, and it's not Russell T Davies. It must be someone entirely.
Because I remember that was a part of the argument. That
Chris Chinball wrote 13.
Chinball, that was.
Wait, no, Chris Chinball wrote Capaldi. I just skipped Capaldi in my mind.
Yeah,
I love Capaldi's run.
Chinball took over for 13. Yeah, okay.
Is 13?
13 Jodie Whittaker.
Okay.
Because 14, he says he's 14th. He's the 14th iteration, the new one, the new David Tennant.
Yeah.
So anyway, Chris Chinball left, Jodie Whittaker left. We don't fully know exactly what happened, but BBC decided to go back to Russell T Davies and David Tennant, 2 of the most premiered names within the Doctor Who.
They were going back to Russell T Davies regardless, and then Russell T Davies pulled Tennant back in with him.
Okay, but either way, that's what I'm saying. We have those 2 now. So we're now at the first appearance of David Tennant's new run.
Yes. Okay. So yeah, in Doctor Who fashion, the only clip that anybody watched of Jodie Whittaker's run, the vast majority of Who fans that fell off, was when she regenerated, because she regenerated in a way that no other Doctor ever has, regenerated into an older face, but also with clothes, like not into the same clothes. His clothes regenerate as well.
Well, you need to know exactly who he is.
And he gets a snazzy, updated version of his original do, which is cool. I crapped on Jodie a little bit. Cool context. I watched 1 episode of her run. It was for a video on my channel that is forever lost because of audio issues, where we watched the entire episode that covered Rosa Parks and Martin Luther King Jr. Yes, that happened. I'm not kidding. They went back to the help Rosa Parks get on the bus. I'm not kidding. It's awful. The woman who plays Rosa Parks learned her American accent from an American movie. Can you guess which movie, Benny?
No.
Forrest Gump. You go back and watch it. She sounds like Forrest Gump the entire time. It's a horrible, horrible thing. And in general, I saw clips of Jodie Whittaker's run. Did not like it. David Tennant is easily the most beloved from current Who, the reboot Who era. He's the most beloved Doctor. Eccleston didn't get a ton of time. Tennant was really beloved, and he was honestly cut short in a lot of people's eyes. His Doctor ends with the famous line, "I don't want to go."
Right, which supposedly was improv by him just
Makes
on
sense.
the spot because he didn't actually want to go. So right off the bat, I didn't mind this, and we're going to talk about the elephant in the room because the core plot to this freaked out. Okay, so let's go into the elephant in the room then. The show is about how the Doctor himself is non-binary, male and female, and basically that when the Time Lord abilities leaked into Donna, and then Donna had a child, that child is a non-binary trans person because they have the Doctor stuff in them. And I watched an interview with Russell T Davies about it because obviously the moment you make a whole episode about that topic, you know you're going to get backlash or people citing it or whatever you want to do. And he said that the reason he did it is because racism and homophobia come out of the fact that people are not aware and not normalized to this stuff. That was where he feels it comes out of. So by
I gotta say,
normalizing
I
this-
missed a line of dialogue when I watched it, and I had to go back and watch it. I missed the sentence where Donna and her mom talk about the daughter being trans or non-binary, and you actually don't lose anything in the episode.
I missed it too.
You miss it, and it
I
actually
did.
doesn't change anything.
Because I started watching it on the side, not on the big TV. I was like watching on the side, and I'm like, oh, this is really fun. I'll put it on the big TV. So I missed a few early lines, and I missed it as well. But he says he wanted to put it in this episode because if we normalize it and we make it normal, then hatred, racism, and homophobia will go away because this youth will grow up with it normalized instead of being an oddball thing for them.
They're right. I mean, and functionally, he's right. There's ways to do it better. There's
It
ways
did
to do
throw me off
much
when the
better.
daughter was like saying non-binary to Donna saying binary, and I'm like,
Donna's
going
saying
with this?
binary because binary is the last thing Donna said
yeah,
as the Dr. Donna from 2005.
right.
or
Well,
whatever.
which is that, and we'll go into that. But that's actually my complaint about this episode. But we'll go into that.
Yeah, it's heavy-handed and it's done poorly. I think David Tennant plays it beautifully. Like I love when he's talking to the Meep, which is God. So
the Meep was great. I love.
I
the
mean,
Meep.
it's practical effects, a person in the suit, a puppet, and CG all together, and effectively you get a really good-looking creature. Like it adds moments
Probably
with
one
kind
of
of
the
gimmicky.
best looking creatures in Doctor Who. Because
I mean, this episode is beautiful, right?
Dude, the budget went way the hell up for this.
Oh my god,
episode.
it's like we're watching a movie. Like
Yeah,
I feel like
I was like, where'd
maybe
this
a
budget
Disney
come
Channel
from?
movie, but a movie nonetheless. You know,
Yeah, I was
there's
like, where
money.
did it come from? This makes no sense.
Doesn't make any sense. It came from that magical unit building that exists in the middle of London now. Tallest building is a government military building. But David Tennant delivers lines in a way that makes everything okay. So you have the heavy-handed line of like, so the Meep is he or whatever, and he's like,
Yeah.
why are you assuming it's a he?
That I think that was the most ham-fisted, like heavy-handed line.
Ham-fisted, and then David Tennant takes the reins of that line, and he's like,
he does.
"Oh,
He
right,
sells it.
my bad. What are you? He, she, they? Meep is a Meep." It's the dumbest.
I actually,
like,
I
okay,
actually
dude.
hated the actress for the daughter.
I
the
didn't.
line delivery sucked. I hated it. Like,
Here's my thing. I will never like second generation legacy characters. Never. The way that they're shoehorned in like this type of writing scenario, the line of dialogue that is, "We're gonna do something a male presenting doctor could never do. Just let go." Crazy. It's crazy. It's poorly done. You could have had a myriad of other reasons why, and it can still boil down to girl power. I'm fine with that, honestly. Doesn't make a difference to me. But the way it was, and then I always hate it when characters pop up and they act arrogant and smug and smarter than the doctor, and not in like a fun way. Because Clara does it.
Yeah.
Clara does it in a really cute, fun way. The daughter who did it in this one, not
that
as
was
fun.
Clara and Peter Capaldi's whole back and forth.
Yeah,
right?
Clara was the doctor of that season. Like that's like if you go back and watch it, Capaldi's clearly the companion on that, and it's intentional. And by the end of it, she leaves the show with a TARDIS. She like leaves, and it's implied that she's been traveling the universe ever since. So,
but no, that line and then the one about the pronouns, I just felt the delivery on them wasn't good. It was such a very I don't like using the word cringe because it's kind of gone beyond it, but you could. it felt to me like it was just in there to like, okay, I want to say this, I want to get this out, and I don't care how it's delivered. Like
Yeah.
that kind of a mentality, and I don't like how that came across because I'm watching it and I'm like, did they really just say that?
It
Like when
just
the me
I
pronouns thing came up, the way that the daughter delivered the line, I was like, that wasn't even delivered well.
there's no
And then
flow with
David
that.
Tennant took it. Like, yeah,
David Tennant did well with it. So that's the
yeah,
question, right? I think I'm fine with doing that stuff. Russell T Davies is right. He did it poorly, which is crazy because he's such a great writer.
yeah.
But the idea that the next generation is going to be better, it's true. It's very true. When you're normalizing things like that, like this is so I'm 25. I'm much younger than Benny. Benny's an old man compared to me. I'm like,
I'm
so young.
79.
He's 85. So 85-year-old Benny Potter here. When I was
95.
in
I'm a Time
elementary
Lord.
school, I have distinct memories of like there was like a white girl in my class that had a crush on a black kid, and then like the teacher frowned upon that, and it was a weird thing. Like even then, me born in 1998, 25 years old, it was still weird. It wasn't like, oh, this is illegal and this is bad, but it was like uncomfortable. The teacher didn't want it, and then fast forward, by the time I was senior in high school and I was 18, I worked at after school care. I worked with kids, and there were so many little white girls having crushes on little black kids and vice versa, like all over that. And it was no one batted an eye at it. They didn't think it was weird in their head, or they didn't have parents making comments about it because this generation, the generation after mine, grew up with that being a lot more common. So in theory, right, Russell T Davies is right. As we normalize things that
Yeah.
should be normalized in the first place, people more chill. You throw out lines like, "Did you assume the alien's gender? The alien dude? The
Yeah,
guy that has like
exactly.
meep, pork, pork.
Yeah, the
No,
thing's walking around going, meet me, or, we're going to do a thing that the problem is, and this, because we already had someone in the chat, they're being like, it felt like propaganda over storytelling. I actually disagree with that.
Yeah.
There was lines in there that felt like they were literally in there just to shoehorn it in.
Mhm.
But this is how, in my opinion, you actually do something like this. You make it a part of the story. When you do a story that has nothing to do with this, like if the story didn't turn out to be about Donna passing it on to the daughter and that whole thing, then the line about the meep would make far less sense and feel more and more shoehorned in. But when the story is all about Donna's able to now survive without retconning it away, because that's what I thought they were going to do, that Donna somehow can just deal with it now. They put it into the story that Donna had gave birth to a child, and that child was confused about their gender identity because of the Doctor Time Lordiness, which is now also explaining Jody and David and that flip around. By incorporating it into the actual story, that's how you handle things like that.
Yeah,
The time
it's a
where I was
good.
irritated with it feels ham-fisted in, is when the story has nothing to do with that, and then you make a character's entire personality that because you just want to have somebody say it. That's when I go like, what the
It's so funny that you just made it make a lot more sense. I missed the trans line, so I missed a little bit of that, but it makes sense, right? The Doctor is effectively non-binary, right?
Yeah.
We know what's going on in his chest. He's got two hearts. We have no idea what's going on in his pants. For all we know, David Tennant's Doctor is smooth down there like a Ken doll, right? Like there's no real reason to assume they have whatever, maybe Matt Smith's Doctor does, because that guy, he f***s, dude. You can censor that. Please beep that out. Don't cut the line. Beep it out. Matt Smith's Doctor, dude. That's his whole run. That's like, it's the difference between writers. Russell T Davies was like science, 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 and then Stephen Moffat was horny, 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 and then he wrote stories based on being horny, fun stories. This is a really fun return to form in a lot of ways. I'm excited for the next one. Do I think things did not land? Absolutely. Do I think there are moments that my mic just came off the mic arm, so I'm just going to hold it like this for the rest of the thing? Do I think there are moments that don't work at all? Yeah, but also going back to Doctor Who, it has a lot of writing like that. Like it's also British humor and British contextualization that is maybe lost on us as well too, that is working really well. But the whole sequence of them in the house where the Doctor's like using the sonic screwdriver to break the bricks and they're all like running together. Yeah, the shields are so cool. The sonic screwdriver is so cool. I think one of the worst things here is we didn't get to see this Doctor enter his TARDIS. Or enter Jodie Whittaker's TARDIS and get his new sonic screwdriver. Like we missed those scenes, and I think that's what was missing.
There's
for me
also scenes on the website, the YouTube, of him doing other things before getting there.
Really?
Yeah. There's a 4-minute sequence where he accidentally shows up at the birth of the Daleks.
Okay, I think that's in a future episode.
Well, I don't know if it is or isn't, but that's the clip that
Okay,
passing around
I've seen that
isn't
clip. I saw some of that clip. I assumed it was in like because Davros is shown during that. So
Yeah,
I imagine they're not bringing Davros back without having him be like a centralized character because he's the big Dalek guy.
that's the
Um,
Children's in Need special according to Alibaba, so it's a
okay,
future one.
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I thought it was just like when I watched this episode and it didn't happen, I'm like, oh, so there's like out of context scenes of David Tennant just crashing through shit.
Fine
Is
by
there going to be
me,
a
dude.
Cybermen one where he accidentally makes the Cybermen?
I loved the moment where he says, "Oh, I love Donna." Oh, I say that now, because he
Oh no,
doesn't.
it was a short for the charity. It was just for that apparently. It's not a
Yeah.
good show.
So the idea that this doctor is 10, he's 10, but he's the 14th version of 10, and he's more evolved. He can say I love Donna, and then later he's like, I love that man, talking about Wilf, and they're like, Wilf's not dead, you sodding
I
idiot.
love
He's
that. I
like,
love that he's not dead. But see, this is my problem with this episode. Okay. So I don't mind that. Yes, it gets very ham-fisted and very heavy-handed at times, but the
Mhm,
overall plot, I think, is what makes this kind of work, going in this direction with your story. The issue I have with this episode is outside of that story, I feel like the entire episode is reliant on nostalgia. It's
mhm,
all about redoing lines, redoing things with Donna, reliving stuff with David Tennant. And so my issue with the episode wasn't the ham-fisted storyline. It was that everything outside of that was just him saying, Alizé, take away Allah. No, well, my bad. Thing it be like just hitting us with nostalgia and trying to make you be like, okay, hold on. We know Jodie Whittaker didn't do as well. We know Peter Capaldi didn't hit the numbers of David Tennant. So here's David Tennant. Remember what you loved about David Tennant?
See, but here's
all
the thing,
fun
though.
David Tennant.
This is not meant to be a new series. It's the 60th anniversary. It is this. That's what it's supposed to be. And I'll
Yeah.
say my biggest issue is that they don't spend enough time doing stuff like that in the sense of characters talking. I think that there's a lot of scenes that are just missing that are stringing together like an important narrative of I wanted more of the Dr. Donna and David Tennant's doctor talking, just hanging out, speaking to each other. Obviously, the meta crisis happening, whatever else. But I feel like we missed a lot of opportunity to just have them be the characters, you know? And yes, it is overly referential, and it opens. Worst opening of a Doctor Who episode by far. We did not need ghost green screen David Tennant recap. Bad idea.
That was so weird.
But because they recap it in the show.
And it recapped Donna.
Well, and it recaps during the thing, and goes, "Oh, Donna got involved in the meta crisis, Doctor blah 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 blah." They do it multiple times during the episode. It's like, what was the
Could you
point of
imagine
that?
if an MCU movie opened up and they're like, here's everything that happened up to this point, and they just spent 15 minutes recapping the MCU?
Yeah, and maybe it's because it's on Disney Plus now and they demanded it. But I actually wish there was a skip intro button for that because I think it fundamentally threw off the mojo. And then we get the coolest opening sequence I think we've ever had for Doctor Who. It's really cool, bombastic color wise. It's fun. The TARDIS spinning around the vortex. It's really cool in this one. The opening is slow. It is the 60th anniversary, so we do have to expect some ham-fisted nostalgia bait dialogue. I love the moment where he's like, "Don, what? Rose, what?" Again,
The
like
Rose gag, but more nostalgia. And I will admit, he said Rose twice, and my first reaction was, Rose? Where's Rose? Is Rose
Yeah.
showing up? Like,
well, and I like the idea, and then like the fact that the daughter picked her own name or their own name. Funny. That's a cool little tidbit of dialogue because it's like, why the hell would Donna name her daughter Rose? Of all the companions that they had and all the people, like,
but it goes back to the doctor's essence being in the daughter, and then the daughter picking everything. Like that was the whole point of it. Like,
yeah, and it's great, and that makes it great. That makes it work really well.
Yeah.
There are things I don't like about it, but as we're talking about it, I think there's more to like than there is to hate. It's definitely
It's
cringy.
It's what I just said because I know you don't watch the videos I make over there because I did a commentary video in which I just basically answered a lot of questions that I got from that first video. And one of the questions that I always get answered, a lot of people like to say this one. They're like, Benny, why are you so positive about everything? Are you just generally positive? Why you can't find fault in anything? And that's not true. It's because what I do after spending all the time that I did in the army and all the negativity that came out of that, and then coming into what I do now and all the negativity that comes out of everything I like to do. I mean, I'm a fan of Assassin's Creed and Final Fantasy. Every other day I turn around, someone's like, those games are dead and shit. You get used to it. I look for things that I did enjoy in it. And that's what so that way I don't look at that 49 minutes that I watched the Doctor Who special as a waste of my time.
Yeah.
Because I could sit here and I can nitpick all kinds of this line sucked, this delivery sucked, I hated this. But overall, I enjoyed watching it. The nostalgia did hit me just right. Watching David Tennant act out as the Doctor was a lot of fun. The line delivery on most of the lines I felt was fine. The Meep was a great villain, and I loved the turnaround when David Tennant was like, wait a minute, this isn't adding up. No one actually shot the car, and the Meep is just over. Like, no, hold on.
Yeah.
I loved that, and I love that he jumped to the conclusion, like, I'm the judge, and he summoned them all.
Oh, that's a thing from Old Who too.
Yeah.
Like the Shadow Court. That's an
Yeah.
old Doctor Who reference. So
and I love
fun.
that too. And I was like, I loved more of it than I found to be cringy, problematic, or too heavy.
David Tennant has not missed a beat, and he has gotten better as an actor and as a talent. Catherine Tate, just as funny as she always has. Her line delivery, the best line in the whole thing.
Yeah.
She's like, oh my gosh! She accidentally spills coffee on the TARDIS console and screams.
And I love those shit. Whoops. Just
she goes, we can go anywhere. This is a do-over. And David Tennant's Doctor's doing the thing where he doesn't answer clear questions, where Donna's like, why don't you do this over? Why don't you spend more time with the family and all these things? And he's being like, I'm the Doctor and I don't talk during these sequences. And then she spills the coffee and everything goes hectic and haywire. And yeah, the marketing of this was bad.
I will say, if it wasn't David Tennant, let me ask you this. If it was any other Doctor, I don't think this episode would have.
Yeah, but this episode's not meant to work with another Doctor.
No, and I agree with you. I agree.
Yeah.
That's what I think made this episode work, though.
Like, okay,
David Tennant is such an incredible actor, and this is his role. This is like Ryan Reynolds being Deadpool. You're like, oh, that's just Ryan Reynolds. David Tennant is Doctor Who.
I think there is a way to have done this exact story with Matt Smith's Doctor, and he could even still be Donna, but it's him being like, I'm different, yes, but whatever. Like, I still remember you, Donna, like bumping into Donna and more aware of the fact, because they're all still technically the same guy, right? Yeah. Same continuity, same person, whatever. But also, if you did a David Tennant version of this, it would be different. It would be Amy and Rory that the Doctor somehow bumps into in a different time period because they're lost in the 1920s or whatever, right? Yeah. It would be exactly the same plot. I think it always works if you're giving the confines of like what the story is meant to be. It's a celebration of 60 years of Who. It's not supposed to earn an Oscar. It never in a billion years could earn an Oscar. It's just for fun. I'm having fun so far. Marketing of it was bad. I assumed it was a special and it was all going to come out at once. I didn't even know
it came out. Like, I was streaming and people were like, it's out. I'm like, on what? Disney Plus. Well, I'm going to go watch that after this.
I've been on like that side of TikTok because I've been excited about it. So I knew that it was coming out. I don't
get on social media anymore though. So like,
and that's the only marketing tool that they have. Like, that's social media is how they market these things. And I knew it was going to be on Disney Plus. I did not realize it was only going to be like, I knew that Neil Patrick Harris is in it. I was like, when's Neil Patrick? This is only 58 minutes. When's Neil Patrick Harris going to show up? Turns out it's 3 specials. Had to look that up. Had to read a Variety article to see when the release dates are. So it's 3 specials. So a lot more packed into that. So marketing of it, not great. But hey, it's on Disney Plus, which is great. It's easy for us to access. No sketchy third-party websites for me.
All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed our discussion. Let me know what you think down below. This is going to be a very divisive episode in general. When I went to Twitter afterwards, I was like, I got to see what people are saying. And it was so far left argument, so far right argument. It was insane. Like, I was like, wow, Twitter hasn't changed. Everyone's like, there's nothing but extremes. Got it. Well, let me know what you think down below. I'm going to ban Hassan from reading these comments. I will read these comments. You are banned from this episode, Hassan. Banned. Okay? I will respond to these comments. All right. We'll see you guys next time right here.